Now on BBC Two, the future of television. Does more choice mean better programmes?
Decided to turn up, have you?
Good evening, welcome to RTV News. I'm Carole Plummer.
And I'm Robson Stroud.
Ta-da! My guest tonight is PC Illingworth from the Toller Lane division.
It's weird being on television, but even more weird being on the television equivalent of a séance.
Chris Cagoule here with my trusty weather fridge.
There's a TV revolution. Soon we'll be using TV to surf the internet, and there will be hundreds of new channels.
Everything was going just fine until just after 1 p.m.
The cheapest of the cheapest of the cheap television is very, very, very expensive.
Hi there! Welcome to Network Cafe on Channel 7.
Anybody out there at all?
In my opinion, choice is not a good thing. One must ask the question, does more necessarily mean better?
Broadcasters are offering us a bewildering choice of new channels and new technologies. How will it change TV across the region? And will the quality get better or worse? July 1999 at Humberside Airport. One of the world's most powerful media tycoons makes a business trip to Hull. Rupert Murdoch's on a private jet from the French Riviera. He's making a deal which could change the way we use TV.
He came here because this is the only place in the world where you can see this kind of service. This is a world-leading proposition. And that's why he came. He came and spent a long time here.
Rupert Murdoch was in East Yorkshire to forge a business link with Kingston Communications Company. They can supply digital TV and the internet through old-fashioned telephone lines. It's a pioneering technology.
We're very much in a pioneering situation, and as the Old West found, pioneers can sometimes come up trumps, sometimes they can have a disaster, and it's that kind of balance that I think Rupert Murdoch has proven in the past to be very successful at.
As a deal was hammered out, the stakes were high. Digital TV is bringing hundreds of new channels supplied by satellite, cable or through existing aerials. More than a quarter of the population now have access to the internet through personal computers. The race is on to bring mass access to the internet on digital TVs.
I think in 5-10 years' time, we may not even be using the word television. We will have some sort of video device in the corner of the room, maybe in several rooms, which will give us video and sound, but it'll come from all sorts of different sources.
Kingston Communications used to have a sleepy existence as Hull's own telephone company. Now it's been floated out of local authority control and hit the jackpot on the stock exchange. But many more millions are in prospect if, in partnership with Rupert Murdoch, Kingston succeeds in removing the need for satellites or fibre optic cables underneath the streets.
Can transform the old telephone network into a network that will support the delivery of these new entertainment and information services. And the significance of that is that the penetration of the telephone network is almost as high as the penetration of the television sets in the UK.
It's a media goldmine. In Saltaire, Pace Microtechnology is a world leader in supplying equipment for digital TV. Its clients include Kingston Communications.
Television itself is quite a simple device in the home. I mean, when you look at it, people are quite happy to pay £500 for something that gives them 4 or 5 channels of quite basic television. And now we've got set-top boxes coming along that offer 200-300 channels of television, and they're being given away practically free.
In the global media market, the attention of many big suppliers is on business opportunities rather than programming.
I think in years to come, the ability to hear the TV for the first time will be the key feature for the viewer, and also transactional activities, the ability to pay for goods on the internet through the TV.
Marketing experts believe viewers want fast access to the internet on TV instead of a personal computer.
Let's access travel, and one of the sites is bargainholidays.com. What this allows you to do is to pick from a range of packages. You can look at the resort that you're going to fly to. You can find out more about the flights, the deals, and the city breaks, depending on the sort of holiday you want. There is definitely a different discipline to watching TV internet as opposed to computer internet. It's a sit-back environment as opposed to a sit-forward environment, because you're 10 feet away as opposed to a foot away. So we don't see TV internet as being the ability to do spreadsheets and Word documents. It's the ability to be entertained and to take part in things that you are interested in.
Last-minute preparations are being made for a special TV exhibition which opens in Bradford on Saturday. Future World, backed by the BBC, will be held over the next 6 weeks. The BBC already has a stake in 9 digital TV channels. Other broadcasters are doing the same. It's a bewildering new world with more choices for viewers than ever before.
Decided to turn up, have you? Good job and all, you know, because I just thought you should know about tonight's weather, right? It is going to be clear, dry spells, but don't let that lull you into a false sense of security, you know, because there's going to be these cheeky little showers just cropping up later on front west, like.
The tastiest halal pizza is here now at Raja's Pizza Bar. At Raja's Pizza Bar now, all pizzas are half price and cheeseburgers are just 99p. Twice the taste, half the price. Raja's Pizza Bar, 107 Oak Lane, Bradford. Call Bradford 786 999, 786 999. Raja's Pizza Bar for the tastiest halal pizza ever.
And we hope we shall succeed in providing a combined national service of sound and television in the world. Meantime, the opening of our northern station tonight marks an important stage in our plan.
In the beginning, there was one TV broadcaster, the BBC. Television came to the north of England in 1951 with the opening of the Home Moss transmitter. In those early broadcasts, the north was being served with network coverage which was dominated by London.
To mark this double occasion at the end of Coronation Year, we would like to proffer an evening's diversion.
Television became very popular very quickly, and everyone sat down to watch the same programme at the same time and would then go off and talk about it. You know, they'd sit with their family as well, because there's one set per household. They'd go to work or whatever else they did and talk about it. They'd go to work, school, or the pub and talk about television.
Before 1955, when you just got, as it was then known, BBC Television rather than BBC One, one of the great advantages was that if you actually watched a programme and you bumped into a colleague at work the following day who had also got a TV set, you could be absolutely certain that you'd both watched the same programme. And so it wasn't until ITV came along in 1955 that people then used to go into the pub in the evening and say, did you watch the television last night? There was a fabulous programme about so-and-so. And somebody would say, well, I was actually watching The Other Side. And this phrase entered general usage.
As the BBC's monopoly eroded, by the 1960s, more local choice was on the way. Yorkshire Television opened in 1968. For the first time, viewers had a big producer of TV programmes on their doorstep. A new kind of broadcaster was born, and some of them still survive today.
Working in it was very special. For a start, there wasn't much television around. It was terrific to get a job in it, and it was a great novelty. When you went out in the street and set up a camera in the street, crowds would gather round, expressing great interest. Nowadays, you put up a camera in the street, people don't give you a second glance, and if they do, they cross the street to get away from it.
There are more acres in Yorkshire than there are letters in the Bible. Indeed, there are 3,897,000 and a few more, and I'm on Middleham Moor.
By now, there were two providers of regional TV programmes, Yorkshire Television and from the BBC, a new base in Leeds, which produced Look North. Viewers had a choice. It was a pioneering period for regional broadcasting. A new style of local coverage emerged, creating personalities as well as reporting stories.
In those early days of Look North, we felt like pioneers. It was no good coming back and saying to the news editor, well, the story didn't stand up, because he'd say, well, there's a hole in the programme. So very often we used to have to use our imagination. I don't mean we made stories up or we told lies, but we just had to use our imagination.
Another revolution was coming, satellite TV, with many new channels. For some, things weren't changing for the better.
Goodness gracious, when I first started, I was thrilled to bits to think that I was appearing on television, that I, little Richard Whiteley from Baildon, was appearing on TV. It was fantastic. Now, of course, thankfully, more people get the chance to appear on television, thank goodness. So it doesn't have the magic or the impact that it used to have.
This time it's Cutbush at his back.
Television sport led the new revolution. The days of easy access to professional football were gone for good.
Oh, and he does so well!
In future, broadcasters would have to pay much more for the privilege of showing local and national sport. Now, sports coverage is still crucial to the Channel 7 cable channel in North Lincolnshire, one of the new breed of local broadcasters.
Mince pies, Santa Claus, chocolates for everyone and pre-match entertainment were the order of the day when the Mariners played host to Barnsley on Boxing Day. Everything was going just fine until just after 1 p.m. 14 minutes past to be precise when Craig Hignett...
They can talk about football, but they can't show it. And in the modern TV sport era, match action is the difference between the haves and the have-nots.
742 crowd went home very disappointed.
The bigger the pipeline that you've got the opportunity to send material down, the more material you need. It's like feeding some giant monster that gets bigger and bigger and bigger, and you've got to feed it more and more and more. There is a danger that the quality of production will go down as the opportunity to provide programming goes up.
You can tell the difference between a production that costs goods. It's just obvious.
In a multi-channel age, TV is within the reach of enthusiastic local operators on the tightest of budgets. The Ridings TV cable channel in Bradford broadcasts 3 times a year when it can raise the money.
Now is all. Can you all sit down on the floor, cross-legged, please? No, sit down. Sit down. Thank you. Cross-legged on the floor.
I would be grateful if I had a shoestring, to be quite honest. It is very, very difficult because the cheapest of the cheapest of the cheap television is very, very, very expensive. Now, you will need a great leap of faith here because we're in a transitory stage of rebuilding it. What we have here is one of the editing facilities, but as you can see, it's a storeroom at the moment. Right next door is the sound gallery with no mixer, but at least we've got some speakers. Here, all the sound equipment goes.
Thank you. Tonight we're going to attempt to raise all your viewers and ourselves to our higher self.
I'm not going to stand here and say, hey, we're the latest thing as far as television is concerned, and look out, regional and national television, here we come. There's no point in us being a mini calendar. There's no point in us being a microcosm of Look North. We try and do something totally and completely different. One thing that we are pretty keen on, and that is graphics, obviously titling, things like that is really important, and here we've got a specific dedicated room to performing graphics and also the wonderful whizzy things that you get at the front or the end of a programme.
Hello and welcome to Thursday's edition of Festival Focus. My name's Jennifer Sugden.
And mine's Rob Walsh.
And once again we're here to tell you about Thursday at the Bradford Festival.
And into the studio. Regrettably, we've only got one studio, but as you can probably see looking around, and it's a bit of a mess at the moment because we're not broadcasting at the moment, there are various sets that we can use. Still some equipment here, but not a lot. This is the set as it was for our last broadcast, which was in November, as the Diwali broadcast. And you just cannot let everybody, without any experience at all, loose in a television studio. We have a minimum, let's put it this way. We say, if you can do it, then come in and try and do it.
Yeah. Are you going to go to the Mail on Saturday?
Yeah, I hope so. Yeah, I'm hoping to. But I was thinking about having a barbecue as well.
No.
Yeah.
Am I invited then?
Well, only if you bring some sausages along and promise to cook them for me.
Sure, I can griddle you a few sausages, Kate.
Well, anyway, it's the 1st of July today and still no sign of summer. So let's go over to our man and his fridge, Chris Cagoule, for a look at the weather.
Still no sign of summer today. It's been very overcast. Tonight will be cloudy with isolated showers and minimum temperatures around 10 degrees centigrade. The forecast for tomorrow isn't much better, I'm afraid. It'll be cloudy, but we should see some longer outbreaks of sunshine. There'll be a light to moderate northeasterly wind. And with that, it's back to the studio. Oh, and don't forget, folks, wherever you go, you always take the weather with you.
Television, if it does get smaller, if it does get local, well, yes, it's interesting to those people who live in the locality, but I'm bound to say I cannot see where the money or the talents or the initiative is coming in the local stations, if they do get smaller and smaller, to do anything but do that a local paper does.
Early morning in Immingham, where another cable company, Channel 7, is supplying the local coverage which regional broadcasters leave out.
Ta-da! What a fine set, ladies. Welcome. Welcome. You're watching live television here on... I've got a flasher in the background, ladies and gentlemen. I can't see a thing now. I've just ruined the start of the show because I was going to do this, and I forgot.
It's based in a £2 million TV studio, backed by European and local authority money, and it's got the Humber Estuary's answer to Richard and Judy.
Hello, welcome to Channel 7. This is Scene on 7. I'm Gary Williams.
And I'm Michelle Portes. This is the 3rd edition now of Scene on 7, and as we get into the swing of our regular programming schedule, hopefully, fingers crossed, by December, we aim to bring you a Scene on 7 every day.
And what a Scene on 7 we've got for you today. We've got all our regular features.
In Lincolnshire, we're very fortunate to be possibly one of the most highly cabled communities in the United Kingdom. About a quarter of the population are connected to the cable for Channel 7. And so we're broadcasting to, say, around about 50,000 regular viewers every day in North East Lincolnshire.
At Grimsby Docks, Channel 7 is chasing an interview about redevelopment plans. The cameraman is a musician who's played in Nashville. The reporter used to work in local radio and newspapers. They're providing the kind of coverage viewers have come to expect. But Channel 7's latest brainwave is a step away from the usual news agenda.
Last year, we did the simplest programme imaginable. We recorded some teachers giving their revision lessons to 11-year-olds just about to take their Key Stage 2 SATS tests in maths and science.
It's back to basics programming. A revision class at a local school is filmed in its entirety. It's reaching the target audience, and so far, it seems to work.
Welcome to Bradley Park. In this lesson, we're going to look at light.
And we've now got evidence to show that the children who pass those tests, particularly in the Education Action Zone area, watch those programmes. And indeed, one would have to say, also we're finding out that many of the children who failed didn't watch those programmes. The most important thing about this is the power of local broadcasting to meet local needs to improve educational attainment.
In Norwich, tucked behind the studios of Anglia Television, another new kind of local broadcasting has been born.
Crew who are behind this crazy audience. Yes, the crew from Sunny Side Up. We have Al, we have Winston, and we have Michelle.
We see ourselves as the Clubbers channel, where for people that want to go out and have a good time, they want to live life, and they want to do it in a fun way. So we do clubbing, we've got snowboarding, snow sports, films, and it's exciting and hedonistic.
But Rapture TV has another face. It's local live television, broadcasting to Leeds, where Rapture's manager doubles as a film critic.
Here on LLTV. Today we're going to persuade all you controversial film fans out there to go to the cinema this weekend, because this week sees the release of Spike Lee's long-awaited film, Summer of Sam. Okay, you know where Rapture's like really young and exciting? Well, LLTV, well it's not... I can't.
Right, do you want the frame as well?
LLTV, staffed by a young team of journalists, has a contract to provide 15 local news and information programmes across the country for cable and wireless. Ben Howes, based in Norwich, has the job of finding stories in Leeds.
Computer users in Leeds are becoming less sleazy. Sex has been knocked into second place as the most searched for word on the internet. The most searched for film here in West Yorkshire was The Blair Witch Project at number 24. But for the most part, words associated with sex were most commonly used on search engines across the region. We often get callers coming in from Leeds telling us about stories. We don't tend to do the hardcore news, if you like. We do more of your lifestyle stories. And then, as it tends, we either do the story and run it with library pictures, or we go out and we talk to them about what's going on.
Today's top story from Wearside is being edited. Leeds viewers have heard it before.
Computer users in Sunderland are becoming less sleazy. Sex has been knocked into second place as the most searched for word on the internet.
Sending crews from Norwich to Yorkshire is not an ideal situation. But in the short term, when we launch the service, we're having to do it that way just to get it started. But certainly the ideal situation is to have a local producer in that local area.
Regional programming takes second place. As the TV industry works on the merger of computer and TV technology, it's creating televisions with the memory to store programmes themselves, making video recorders obsolete.
Well, what we have here is a set-top box which has got some technology added inside it, and on this specific one we have a hard disk drive that's integrated into the set-top box, and what happens is that the programmes that are being transmitted are recorded just as if they're computer data. We have a demonstration here of the pause. What happens, your telephone rings, you push your button and you go off and you do your thing, whether it's answering the door, answering the phone, whatever it is you want. The programme itself is still being recorded onto the hard disk drive. When you come back, you press your resume button or play button and you pick off from exactly where you stopped it.
Viewers will have more choice, but so will advertisers. They'll be able to target their advertising by monitoring your viewing habits.
Let's say you're one of these 1% that can afford a Ferrari. Now, Ferrari at the moment don't advertise on television because it's too wide an audience. They can't target the people that they really want to target. So if they can have a database of people that they know are in that 1% income bracket, then they can generate an advert and it can be downloaded to your hard disk. Whenever the next advertisement comes along, you may see a Ferrari advert and your neighbour may see a Jaguar advert or a Rover advert or a BMW advert, and that's how it's going to work.
In TV, there's a widening gulf between rich and poor, international and local.
लेमन रज़ाई मार्ट की स्पेशल ऑफर मिंक ब्लैंकेट 40 पाउंड के 2 इंग्लिश रज़ाई 799 से इसके अलावा रज़ाई पैड बेड स्प्रेड बेडशीट और पिलो बहुत ही कम कीमतों पर शादी ब्याह के लिए संदूक और सूटकेसेस होलसेल और रिटेल के लिए लेमन रज़ाई मार्ट ब्रैडफोर्ड.
Anyway, yeah, back to tomorrow. Sunshine, but with rain and showers. You know, the right tinkers, these little showers, aren't there, that keep cropping up. Anyway, maximum temperatures 17 to 20 degrees centigrade. That's 63 to 68 degrees Fahrenheit. Have a nice time, all right, ciao.
I think television will continue to be a very important part of everyday life, not only in this country but all over the world. I think that what you perhaps have to define is what future TV will be.
For a few families, as in Hull, interactive TV is already a reality. From one digital TV in their living room, the Hudsons can watch 55 channels, pay for movies, shop, send emails and surf the internet.
Right, this is Kingston Interactive Television, and this is a home page
If I select a movie, just press a number 1 on the remote. A lot more flexible. You can decide more or less what you want to watch when you want to watch it. Like say on the videos, the video on demand, you can watch your film, you can pause it, you can stop it, you can rewind it, you can fast forward it if you want to, you can watch that film as many times as you like during the day.
With the telephony coming into play, you've also got the notion of computers, interlinking machines, television sets. It really does open the way for closing the holes in the internet and actually opening up this notion of having an ocean of information rather than a network.
Mike Smart used to be a Look North reporter. Now he's left TV, running the BBC's rapidly growing online internet news service.
Television was the medium of the last half of the 20th century. Radio and film being the mediums, if you like, of the first half of the 20th century. But what the media, the vast media, is going to be at the beginning of the 21st century, who knows?
20 seconds to the opt.
I think being normal is tougher than it looks.
It's a brave new world, but not everyone's happy about our viewing habits.
Nowadays, everyone watches TV in their own individual surroundings. The kids are upstairs, mum's in the kitchen, dad might be slumped on the couch. There's very little family viewing. And of course, all these other services which are being encouraged, online and digital and this and that, they all, and computer stuff, they all encourage what I regard as a sad occupation, which is a single act of viewing.
Good evening and welcome to the Channel 7 News. I'm Liz Aveling. Tonight's main story...
Local broadcasting is already a reality for some, but the evidence suggests we'll get more choice, but not more quality.
Now, for more of
I think the great sadness of the impact of digital broadcasting is that there is no real certainty that viewers are going to get more regional services. There's no doubt there'll be more choice, that's certain. Many more channels will be available. But whether the economics will actually permit more regional services on television, or television as we know it, I think is actually very doubtful.
For a lot of people, television is still television. It's a nice passive thing. You can sit down and enjoy yourself. And deviating slightly, a lot of the growth areas in television-related expenditure at the moment aren't cable and satellite. They're Dolby Surround, they're widescreen, they're very big screens. They're all the things associated with turning the home into a much better environment to watch pictures. And I think that's rather important and tends to get forgotten.